Welcome to episode number 2, when you help your company measure how critical is the problem and causes behind the problem. So let's go ahead. Next slide, please. Right. So for you, define phase mainly help us understand what and where is the problem. Let's move to next phase, that is measure phase. As name suggests, we measure something here. What do we measure? We measure how deep is the problem. We also measure criticalities of different causes that may lead to the problem. Operations team manager asks, why are we saying may lead? Are these not real causes to be fixed? You reply, good observation. In measure phase, we find probable causes and measure their criticalities, and then statistically test highly critical causes in the analyze phase to validate whether these critical causes are actual causes behind the given problem, that is behind project one. Let's study different steps of measure phase. First step of measure phase is to develop a one-pager document of performance standard that define measurable characteristics of the problem. In other words, performance standard document answers following questions briefly. A, what is the problem, project Y? 2, that is B, what is an operational definition of the project Y? C, that is third question, from where we collect data of project Y, that is source of data. Fourth, how frequently we collect the data. Fifth, what is the target for a project Y? Sixth, do we have a specification limits or compliance range, that is buffer plus minus range around target? And seventh, how will we define defective in current project? If performance is beyond specification limit, it is called defective. And this is an important aspect of any improvement project, as it helps us to understand how much is pre-improvement percentage defective and pre-improvement process capability. Secondly, it also helps us to compare post-improvement percentage defectives and and process capability with pre-improvement percentage defective and process capability. And finally, it helps us to infer if any improvement is attained in a Six Sigma project. You continued. A performance standard is a document that sets the direction of any Six Sigma project. It translates problem into a measurable characteristics like target, specification limits, and defectives. After all, you can solve a problem only if you can measure it. And that's where performance standard help us to bring that measurability into this particular proposition. So it brings that measurable characteristics like target, specification limits, and defectives into the picture. Then operations team member asks, may I ask you mention process capability. What is the process capability? You replied, good question. We will definitely come to it, but little later. Meanwhile, please prepare a document of performance standard for our current project in next 30 minutes. So for next 30 minutes, team work together, they develop a performance standard document. And after 30 minutes, this is what the document they prepared. So project Y, severity ticket volume non-compliance. We can use short form of severity non-compliance. Now, what is the operational definition of project Y? S1 and S2 severity tickets are those tickets. Tickets normally are the request or complaints. They call it tickets, right? So in IT sector. So S1 and S2 severity tickets are those tickets that need to be solved by experienced and specialist resources. By the way, S1 stands for severity 1, S2 stands for severity 2. Higher S1 or S2 tickets means process need additional specialist resources that increases cost for the process. right? So if you have more number of S1 or S2 tickets, then you need more number of specialists or experienced individual to resolve those tickets. And when you need more number of experienced individuals, that will come with the cost because those are the specialists, right? So that will increase the cost of the process or operating cost of the process. Hence, volume of S1 or S2 tickets or incidences should be minimal. If given day receives one or more S1 or S2 complexity tickets, that day is called severity non-compliance. Repeat. If given day receives one or more S1 or S2 complexity tickets, that day is called severity non-compliance. So data collection frequency on daily basis, every day. Data source, what is the data source? Issue log from operations team. So operations team do maintain issue log either system based, that is software based, where automatically it will generate S1, S2 tickets. And you need to just take it on almost regular basis. Or you can maintain the issue logs into spreadsheets as well. But nowadays, most of the IT operation companies do have all these things into the software itself, so that come to them automatically. Specification limit or and target value. Lower specification limit not applicable in this case, right? So lower is better, that is zero is always better. Target, it has to be zero. I mean, in other words, we are not supposed to have any S1 or S2 tickets if you really want to reduce the cost associated with resolving those tickets, right? And finally, upper specification limit, client has not given any buffer or any upper specification limit. So it is also going to be zero. So upper specification limit 0, target 0, and lower specification limit not applicable in this project. Now, defective definition, the most important aspect of Six Sigma project. Any day that receives one or more S1 or S2 complexity tickets is called severity non-compliance, or severity non-compliance day for that matter. So that's about the defective definition, and this is what the whole document they developed in half an hour, through brainstorming and discussing the stuff together. You also were part of that discussion, although you're the new candidate, new team member. So you're just facilitator. I mean, as a Six Sigma Green Belt, you were just facilitating the procedure or process of building or developing the document called performance standard, right? So you facilitated the process. Next step or next slide. Right, so you continue over here. Hope you are done after 30 minutes, right? So you continued. Hope you are done. Now let's move to the next step, that is root cause analysis or RCA. What we do in RCA, let's see. A project problem or project Y need to be further investigated with root cause analysis. We use fishbone diagram for RCA. Basically, fishbone diagram gives clarity of RCA by categorizing list of probable causes. It provides different sections where we can segregate people related, machine related, material related, external factor related, method related, measurement related causes across manufacturing and of course across service industries as well. And for software industry, we can have cause categories related to people, environment, coding, environment and software environment, coding, client, operational or training processes, and finally QA, that is quality assurance. Assistant operational manager asked, is it mandatory to use this section for RCA? You replied, not necessarily. If you don't find different sections relevant in your project, instead of using title of man, machine, material, and all those titles of the categories, you can just use cause 1, cause 2, cause 3, and up to cause n, and then you go ahead for sub cause, finding the sub causes under those titles of cause 1, cause 2, cause 3. Let's do RCA for our current project in next 1 hour. You can take additional 1 or 2 if needed, but this is very important step. You can brainstorm different causes by discussing it in a group. Please feel free to share whatever causes you think may cause the problem. Please do remember, no cause is illogical or wrong. Please use your experience and comes up with the maximum causes. This step is important for solving problems based on advanced analytical technique of Six Sigma analytics. So after 1.5 hours, operations manager mentions mentioned, I guess we are done with all the probable causes that can lead to the problem. You replied, great. This was a wonderful session on RCA with you all, and we have finalized list of causes. So here what happened is like, you again facilitated that session of RCA, that brainstorming discussion. Just trying to visualize you sat for a brainstorming session with a team or their assistant manager, supervisor, and some experienced team members, and of course process manager or operations manager as well. You have a whiteboard over there, then you drew that fishbone diagram, and trying to find out different probable causes from there. And this particular exercise took 1.5 hours over there, right? So, and that's why you replied, great. This was a wonderful session on RCA with you all, and we have finalized the list of causes. Assistant operations manager mentioned probable causes, right? And they all laughed. Yes, you are very much right. List of probable causes, not only causes, list of probable causes. I'm happy that we all are enjoying this journey of analytical problem solving with Six Sigma. This is what fishbone diagram they built. High severity non-compliance is why. Here you can see the categories: measurement, QA, machine environment, man or people, client or external factors, method or training or operations, process, material or coding. So these are different categories they did have in IT operations. And these are the probable causes they came up with through their brainstorming discussion for 1.5 hours. So on that basis, this is what they are done with the fishbone diagram, right? So they found the list of probable causes. So let's move ahead. Well, before we proceed, it's almost 1 p.m. If we need to take a lunch break, let's regather in next 1 hour by 2 p.m. Will it be okay? Operations manager replied, yes, sure. Let's gather again here by 2 p.m. So at 2 p.m., you. Welcome back. Hope we all had a delicious lunch. So before we all start feeling sleepy, let's jump over our next step, prioritizing probable causes with CI matrix. C in CI matrix stands for controllability and I stands for impactability. As we already discussed, that core of Six Sigma is prioritization, and CI matrix is a powerful tool for prioritizing probable causes that we listed down with the help of fishbone diagram. All we needed to do is to separate highly controllable and highly impactable causes from this list of probable causes. Operations team member comes up with the question. I have a doubt. We understand what controllable causes are, those causes that we can control or fix. However, how can we measure impactability? Next slide. You replied, what I loved most in your question is you use the word measure. Yes, we measure the criticality of the causes in measure phase, and thus it is named as a measure phase. Of course, we also measure how deep is the problem, but that thing in later half of measure phase. But time being, let's come back to your question. How can we measure impactability? Impactability is defined by two attributes. A, how severely given cause can affect the problem. There are two options, high or low. And B, frequency of occurrences of given cause. Again, two options, high and low. Now, frequency means if given cause occurs almost on a daily basis or once in a week. If any cause occurs almost on a daily basis or even on alternative day, it will be categorized as highly frequent calls. And if any cause occurs on a weekly or monthly basis, it's categorized as low frequent calls. So let's scan each of our probable calls through CI matrix in next 30 minutes. So all they did is like, of course, the Six Sigma green belt, that is you. You have facilitated that exercise of prioritizing, probable causes through CR matrix and convert it or segregate, the critical causes out of the CR matrix. So that's what you're going to do with them, and you did it. And once you're done with that, let's see what you and team have exactly done. So on the very next slide, causal prioritization with controllable and impactable matrix. So these are the 9 different causes you found through fishbone diagram, and then all these 9 causes individually will go through the filter or scanner of controllability and impactability. In other words, every single cause will be asked whether it's a highly controllable, whether it's a highly severe, and whether it's a highly frequent. If the given cause is highly controllable, highly severe, and highly frequent, then only that cause will get prioritized as a critical cause. So all you did is you follow this particular exercise. So you could see, first cause, wrong jobs or delayed completion of jobs, is highly controllable, highly severe, and highly frequent, and that's why it's one of the critical cause you prioritize. Likewise, the second cause, severe issue, then the fourth cause, distribution issue, then the sixth cause, testing issue, seventh cause, network issue, and eighth cause, wrong data on pricing. So 6 causes you have prioritized as a critical causes from the list of 9 probable causes. That's what you did in a CI matrix exercise, right? You could see over here the cause number 3, client issue, was not highly controllable. That's why you never considered it for next to filters or scanners. Likewise, the DB issue, it was a highly controllable cause. It was highly severe as well. However, the frequency of DB issues is relatively, DB means database issue, is relatively low, and that is why we are not prioritized it. In case of human error, yes, it is highly controllable, but it's low severe and low frequent, and that is why you're not considering this as as a prioritized cause. So we have, or you have prioritized 6 causes out of 9 probable causes. So these 6 causes are the critical causes. Let's go to next slide. Right, so you'll continue. Hope we are done. Now we are left with 2 more steps here in major phase. Once we prioritize highly controllable and highly impactable causes, now we need to collect data for project Y and causes. Following are the sub steps we need to take. We collect data of project Y. Do you remember a question we asked in operational liver diagnostics to Miss Rima Dayal? How frequently you capture the metric? Frequency is denominator in a metric. So if you have a metric of, say, the quality per shift. So quality is your numerator and shift is your denominator. Likewise, frequency will always shift or day are kind of a frequencies, right? When you're going to collect the data, daily basis or weekly basis, or for that matter, shift-wise basis, right? So the frequency is a denominator in a metric. Say, for example, if project-wise a quality per shift, the way we talk it right now, value of quality is numerator and shift is a denominator here, right? So here we collect data for project Y on shift-wise basis. Had project Y been quality per day, then we would have collected day-wise data. Okay, so far so good. Once data for project Y is collected, then check whether project Y is meeting set or stipulated target or not. If project Y is meeting the target, then given shift or given day, its compliance, that is C, which is denoted, compliance is denoted by C. And if not meeting the target, given shift or given day is non-compliance, which is further denoted or marked by NC. Operations manager came up with the question. What if frequency of data collection is not shift or day-wise basis? Like to take an example, in case of software release, it may take 2 or 3 days per release. Previously, when we started our journey, by then, software releases used to happen once in a week or 2 weeks or even once in a month. Today, it might take 2 or 3 days. So in that case, how will we collect data for software release? You responded, simple. In that case, software release wise, not day wise, not shift wise, but software release wise. For example, if metric for software release is say defect density per release, and stipulated or set target for defect density is 1. So that's defect density is one of the metric, and it is denoted by the numbers 1 or 2 or 3 or 0 likewise, right? So if the set target for defect density is 1, and if any software release has defect density of 2, then it is non-complying or NC software release. And if defect density for next, for that matter, software release is 1 or even 0, in that case, that software release will be denoted with C, that is compliance, right? Likewise, for every single software releases, you're going to check out whether the defect density is meeting the set or stipulated target or not. If it is meeting the stipulated target, it will be compliance and denoted by C. If it is not meeting the target, then it is non-compliance and is further denoted. It is means that software release is further denoted by NC. Period. Next slide, please. Operational team leader asked, and what if we collect data either unit-wise or transaction-wise or ticket-wise or even complaint-wise basis, like TAT, right? Or TAT of a transaction or quality per unit or CSAT per complaint, in that case, you responded, good question. Let me take an example to explain it. Say you collect turnaround time, that is time to resolve client complaint, means TAT, for each transaction you process. Firstly, you take the average TAT for a given shift, that is total of turnaround time for all transactions processed in a given shift. So total time, I would say total time of time for a turnaround time for all transaction processed in a given shift divided by total number of transactions processed in a same shift. Operations team member asked, will you please elaborate? You responded, yes. Say in a given shift, your team processed 42 transactions, and if total time consumed by all transactions is 7,800 minutes. In one shift, how come 7,800 minutes? You can have maximum 480 minutes, but that's for one individual. What if in that shift 20 individuals are working? What if in that shift 15 individuals are working, right? So you have more than 7,000 minutes available, right? So let me repeat. Say in a given shift, your team processed 42 transactions, and if total time consumed by all transactions is 800 minutes, 7,800 minutes. So average that is 7,800 minutes divided by 42 transactions, which is 185.71 minutes per transaction. Now check what is the set target for TAT, turnaround time. Say if it is 180 minutes, example, in this case, average TAT for a given shift is higher than the set target. 185.71 minute is definitely more than 180 minutes. Thus, in this case, given shift is non-compliant, that is NC. Now take another example. Say if average TAT for next shift, hypothetical example, average TAT for next shift is 178.53 minutes. It means a total time consumed to resolve, given number of transactions in that shift, right? Divided by total number of transactions. If you could come up with this particular particular equation, you will find this ratio is 178.53 minutes. If it is 178.53 minutes, this is example or hypothetical case. This 178.53 minutes is lower than target of 180 minutes, which is acceptable. Hence, that shift is compliance, that is C. Got it? And likewise, we'll continue with each and every shift. So I'm trying to find out whether it is meeting the target of 180 minutes. If that average processing time per transaction for a given shift is meeting the target of 180 minutes, that's compliance. If it is not meeting, if a given shift consumes more time, more average time, then it would be non-compliance. Operations team member mentioned. Yes, I got it. Next question, next slide. Now you're continuing here. Thus, we can denote each shift with either of C or NC, right? All right. Can anyone among us take an example for quality compliance or non-compliance? So we took an example of TAT, compliance, non-compliance. Now, can you take example of quality non-compliance or quality compliance or non-compliance? Any one of you, an operations team member, one of the operations team members say, sure, let me try. Say, on an average, if any company manufacture 150 units per day, and if quality team found 10 defective parts, so percentage defective rate is 10 by 150, which is roughly 6.66%. for a given day. Hence, quality score is 100 minus percentage defective, which is 93.34%. If daily target for quality is 95%, if that company management said the daily target of quality is 95%, then this 93.34% is certainly less than 95%. But we want quality as high as it could be, as high as possible, not like that. That we need low, but quality we need high. And that is why 93.34% is lesser than target of 95%, which is non-compliance. Hence, that day is quality non-compliance, NC. And if for a given day, say next day, quality is say 96%, then 96% is greater than 95%, which is ideal situation, which you will definitely ask for, right? Hence, that day is quality compliance, C. And likewise, you can continue checking out the quality non-compliance and quality compliance for each and every day. Am I correct? You replied, excellent. So let's summarize. If metric is Y per shift, then we'll collect shift-wise compliance or non-compliance against set target. And if metric is Y per day, then we'll collect day-wise compliance or non-compliance against set target. However, in case of unit or transaction where set target is for a metric of project Y per unit, we need to take average of the metric for a given shift. Let me repeat. We need to take average of the same metric for a given shift and then compare this average with set target. So we got a project Y, that is we got that metric details per unit wise basis, and you have produced say n number of units in a given shift. So you can definitely take an average for a given shift, right? So you can take an average of the given metric for that given shift, right? It's quite easy. And based on a comparison, we can decide C or NC. So next thing is, how long shall we collect the major phase data? Normally, we collect data for 1 month. Right. So before we proceed, let's go through the note part. For sake of narration purpose, we will take metric of Y per day, frequency of a daily basis. It doesn't mean that one cannot take Y per shift. But to avoid confusion of explanation during episodic narration, we will continue with the metric with day-wise data collection. So please remember why per day is our metric henceforth. Because the severity non-compliance, which we are talking about in the in this episodic narration, the given company is taking this severity non-compliance on a daily basis, right? So we are just taking per day basis. So our Y is severity non-compliance. But since that hypothetical company which we are showing right now, or which we are talking about right now, that company is collecting severity non-compliance not on a shift-wise basis, but on a day-wise basis. And that is why, henceforth, we are going to consider severity non-compliance per day basis. Now, another reason for that is our previous project, the project which we took, or the project which we are taking, for conceptual briefing, the project of PT non-compliance. There we use the frequency of per shift basis, right? So PT non-compliance per shift. So we already have a flavor of PT already have a flavor of shift-wise data collection. So this project, the purpose of this project is also to get the flavor of day-wise data collection. And that is why you can have the flavor of both shift-wise with the PT non-compliance and day-wise with the severity non-compliance, right? And that is why in this project, we are going to consider severity non-compliance per day basis. So our metric is going with the frequency of per day basis. So please do remember Y per day is our metric henceforth, and that Y is of course severity non-compliance, right? So severity non-compliance per day. Let's go to next slide. You continue. However, if metric is like a defect density of software release, since software release happens once in a 2 to 3 days, we may not get sufficient data in 1 month. So we should capture data for at least 1.5 months, that is 1.5 months, right? So because we should have a sufficient number of data points. So that's what we're supposed to do. So far, so good. Operations team. Yes, certainly. You continue. Great. Just imagine that you collect data for metric A on day-wise basis. Okay. So for any day, if performance of metric A is NC, that is non-compliance, we need to further investigate which critical cause or causes from the list of CI matrix are culprit for making a given day NC. Denote that cause or causes with 1 and rest of the causes with 0. And likewise, investigate all NC days. And please remember only NC days and not C days. Operations manager. Oh, so if any day or shift is NC, we need to investigate which cause or causes led to that NC, non-compliance. And we need to investigate only highly controllable and highly impactable causes from CI matrix, right? You replied, absolutely correct. Assistant operations manager asked, and we don't need to investigate for compliance day or shift C, right? We need to investigate only for non-compliance in C. Please correct me. Absolutely right. That would be the reply. Operations team. You okay? I will decode that long as we all understood it. All laughed. All right then. Shall we capture data for a given project for next 1 month and meet up again after 1 month? What say? Operations manager replied, sure. And then you said, happy data collections, folks. Next slide. So after 1 long month, where they collected the data almost on a daily basis. This is what the data they have collected. You have a major phase, date, and a week, total number of tickets received. It's all 3 tickets, S1, S2, and S. These are 3 different levels. Severity 1, severity 2, and severity 3. So number of severity 1 and severity 2 tickets received. So out of these tickets, how many are severity 1 and severity 2 tickets? And based on that, you have NC and C. So if there are one or more than one severity tickets, then it is going to be NC. And if there are zero severity tickets, that's a compliance. That's a compliance, right? So that given day is a compliance one. And if there are one or more than one number of severity 1 or severity 2 tickets, then it's going to be NC. And if it is NC, you got to investigate. So out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of this 6 critical causes means highly controllable, highly severe, and highly frequent causes. So when it is NC, then you need to further investigate out of these 6 causes, which causes leading to this NC, that is culprit. So here on the day 1, say on 15th of February 2022, when you had an NC, this particular cause, wrong jobs or delayed completion of the job, was the culprit. And who decided which cause impacted this particular NC? Of course, the team, assistant manager and supervisor. So whenever there will be NC, as we kept on discussing, even we discussed this thing into our conceptual briefing as well, that that supervisor or assistant manager need to sit together and try to investigate. Okay, we got this NC. Why this NC is occurring? And this will not consume more than 10 to 15 minutes per day, right? And if there is a C, if that given day is a compliance day, when there is no severity 1 or severity 2 tickets occurring, then of course we are not going to investigate everything. So that is how we're going to continue. And for 30 long days, team has been investigated the NCs whenever there is NC, right? So which cause is a culprit and leading to this NC? So this is how they did it. So take the example of this, third day, right? So we got an NC over here. And total number of severity 1, 2, and 3 tickets were 2, and both of them are severity 1 and 2 tickets, which is more than 0, of course, right? That is why it is NC. So they investigated it and they realized that this caused distribution issue and that of wrong data on pricing, these two issues leading to this NC. And likewise, they continued the investigation for all those NC dates in a major phase data. So this is how you could see the data over here. And this is what their data collection, major phase data collection. So let's go to next slide. So here you're going to continue now. Good morning all. It's been almost 1 month. Hope you all are good. Shall we go to the next step? Are you all ready to take next ride? Operations team. Yes. You. Splendid. Let's recap quickly. We started with defining problem. Then we developed a project charter. Then visualize end-to-end process map. Then develop document of performance standard. And then exercise RCA, CI matrix, and then collected data for project Y and critical causes for 1 long month. And then of course we investigated NCs. This is what we did till the date, right? Operations team, yes. You replied, great. Now let's move to next step, that is capability analysis. A month back, somebody among us asked, what is capability analysis, right? So here we go. In a very simple term, it is all about assessing where do we stand against clients' expectations. Units in which we measure capability are PPM, that is parts per million, and sigma value. Yeah, PPM is nothing but parts per million. Operations team member, what is part? You responded, part is defective, that is non-compliance, NC shifts or days. So parts per million is nothing but number of NC days divided by total number of days of data collection into 10 lakhs, or which is also called 1 million. Let's take an example. If in a month we collected data for 30 long days, so out of 30 days, if 10 days are NCs, that is non-compliance days, so PPM would be 10, which is non-compliance NC days, divided by total number of days we collected the data, that is 30. So 10 by 30 into 10 lakhs, which is 1 million, is equal to 3,33,333.33 is PPM. Got it? Operation scheme. Yes. You responded, great. And one more thing, ratio of 10 by 30 or NC days by total days is called proportion defective, PD. Let's calculate another unit of capability, that is sigma value. There are many ways to calculate it. However, we will calculate it by using spreadsheet or Excel sheet based simple formula. And the formula is equal to norms in V in bracket 1 minus PD. So in our example, how we're going to calculate it is equal to norms in V in bracket 1 minus 10 by 30, which is PD, right? 10 by 30 here you could see. So is equal to norms in V in bracket 1 minus 10 by 30, and the sigma value is 0.4307. This is how you can calculate. This is just a hypothetical example we have taken over here. Scale of sigma value is up to 6. Ideally, sigma value between 3 to 4 is considered good. 4 and above is better. And if it is less than 3, all it indicates is that we need to resolve the problem as soon as possible. Operations manager. And if metric is per shift basis, then and if 3 shifts per day, then we will have 30 days and 3 shifts per day, which will be 90 at denominator, right? Please correct me. And we will check how many shifts are NC. Say, for example, 25 shifts are NC. So PPM is 25, that is NC shifts divided by total number of shifts for those 13 days, 90. So 25 by 90 into 10 lakhs, which is 2,77,777.7, right? Please correct me. And sigma value will be is equal to norms in V in bracket 1 minus 10 by 30, right? You responded absolutely. Please remember, for any improvement project, you take only one metric, Y per day or Y per shift. We don't need to work on both frequencies, that is day and shift at a time. But whatever you mentioned is absolutely right, sir. All right, let's move ahead. Will you calculate both PPM and sigma value for your project in the next 30 minutes? Operations manager, yes, sure. You replied, great. So within the next 30 minutes, they use the formulas for PPM and of course that for sigma value, and they calculated both of these indicators of capability analysis. So after 30 minutes, right, so determining the process capability. So they have determined the process capability, total number of days. They have collected the data 30 days. There is no shift, so N is 30. Total number of defectives, that is number of days with severity non-compliance, that is days when one or more number of severity 1 and severity 2 tickets or client's complaints received by team. Tickets are complaints, right? So how many were there? 22. So in major phase, 22 days were there where they collected either one or more number of client complaints or tickets of severity 1 and severity 2 levels. So K is 22 and N is 30. So what would be the proportion defective? PD is equal to K by N is equal to 0.7333 parts per million. PD into 10 lakhs, that is 1 million, which is 7,33,333.33. And when we calculated sigma value, it is norm is equal to norms in V with this particular formula is equal to norms in V in bracket 1 minus K by N, which came to minus 0.623, which is worst possible To be very honest, it's one of the worst possible sigma value. It means they have to immediately start working on it. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for them to survive. That's what it indicated. So this is minus 0.623. It's really very bad. In analogy with the cancer, it is like, unfortunately, stage 3 or almost stage 4 level cancer, which is highly difficult to cure, right? So that's the value, and they have to work on it as immediately as they can. So on that note, let's move to the next slide. Right. So you asked, are we done after 30 minutes, of course? Operations team replied, yes. Wow. And here we finished our second phase, major phase. Let's move to next phase, that is analyze phase. Do you remember in our introduction, we mentioned Six Sigma is advanced analytical problem solving tool that prioritizes causes based on statistical analysis. So why is Six Sigma a powerful tool? What we do in analyze phase? Let's look into it. So what exactly do we analyze? Let's dive deeper in it in our next episode on analyze phase. Analyze. Until then, goodbye and do take care of yourself. So before we end today's episode, please do like our today's video. Please share it with your friends, and I'm sure you have subscribed it to our family's YouTube channel, that of Breath Effects channel. But if you're not, please do subscribe it. So on that note, let's come together and grow together. So Tishta Bharata, Ma Bharati shall rise again in her full glory. And before we end, let's go ahead and thank technology companies. We deeply appreciate following technology companies for their technological support. So on this note, let's come back in our next episode where we are going to continue on an analyze phase. Thank you so very much.